when making tough decisions, do you have an internal framework that you go through to make sure it's the right decision?
Sure. There's a couple that I kind of fall back on. We try to rack and stack, if we have, options, with the rack and stacking process of what's the benefits, the pros and the cons of what's going on. That's a pretty, reliable way of thinking about how to solve a tough decision or a tough problem. If it's more of a tough decision as to, which way do we go on a design or whatever, we'll try to define what we're trying to accomplish with the customer, what the end market use is, what the application is, and what's the total available market we're trying to address with that product. Those things have worked. And then sometimes we break it down to the simple 80-20 rule. Are we going to get accomplished 80% of what we want to with this decision or with this product or with this action that we wouldn't have gotten done without it? So if we can do those things or any of those things, we kind of move forward. Or we say, nope, it's not good enough. We gotta keep thinking about this and make the decision is to not do anything at this point. We rarely do that one. We always try something. We've learned that it's better to fail forward and move fast in the next opportunity than it is to overthink something as well. So I would also say that we don't let ourselves be caught up in too much paralysis of a decision as well. We typically will make 2 or 3 mistakes real quick, figure it out, because we eventually figure things out, and then get it right the next time before maybe other companies would have ever even made a decision.
We use the phrase decision velocity. Let's make even if it's not the best decision, let's make it quicker so you get the feedback. You might have to course correct, but it's better to make decisions faster than have every decision be perfect and drag out for 3 months.
So I totally agree with that. If you're a NASCAR fan or a racing fan, you might have heard the old phrase, you're not racing if you're not rubbing. What that means is if you're not pushing it, to your point, if you're not pushing the velocity and rubbing a little bit on the wall, you're probably not moving fast enough. So I agree with that philosophy 100%.
Got 2 questions, one up here, and looks like one in the back.
You want me to ask?
Yeah, Craig's got a big voice.
I can talk pretty loud. What's the hardest decision you've ever had to make, whether it's in your career or in the business? What's the hardest thing?
Usually it's around people. When I've had to terminate people that I really cared about because of just poor performance or something they might have done that was just inexcusable from a company standpoint, those are tough. Not because it's not sometimes very clear you have to do it, but because you become emotionally attached to your team and you care about the people that you work with. So I think most of my highs and lows that I have throughout my career have been around people. I've had great successes with people. I've hired amazing people that have come with me over 2 or 3 companies, and they've done amazing things. And there's people that today that are working with me. If I were to leave and go somewhere else, I would steal them shamelessly from this company. And I believe, for the most part, they would all come with me, which is fantastic. So the people side is always the best and the worst of what we do. Making decisions around products or which way you want to go on a marketing the campaign or which logo you want to go with. Those aren't so hard, and I really regret any of those. I might not like what my end game is, but I sometimes worry about or think longer about the people issues I have to deal with from time to time. No question.
Hi, Chris. So, Danaher is very focused on business systems and breaking the production of the widget down to the whole factory floor mentality. And that makes sense to me, like when you're producing actual physical product. But when you think about our businesses, business services, people-heavy services, how can we apply that factory floor mentality to what we're doing today?
Yeah, it's a great question. And Danaher had a lot of businesses that were very high tech and offered a lot of services that it wasn't so simple sometimes. But the process always worked around thinking about what's the value you're creating for your customer. And there was a process we used a lot called value stream mapping. And it works whether it be making a widget, or you're designing a product, or you're delivering a service in the field, or you're securing a win in the field, whatever it might be. There's always a process to it that you can map out. And you can understand what your process is today to deliver that value. And if you map that process out with the owners of those processes, the customers of that process, or even maybe some fresh eyes that maybe don't know but will ask what we call stupid but great questions, you can find things that are probably causing you some pain. And we would do that value stream mapping process to really find out throughout 100 steps, let's say. Out of 100 steps, what we would typically find, this is a staggering statistic, but it always bore out pretty consistently, that out of 100 steps, typically 5 added value. Now that's staggering. Think about 100 steps in any process. 5 added value. Now the other 95 we thought were important because we did them. But they were important because we had to do something that maybe we didn't trust the operator, so we inspected a part. Or maybe we didn't trust the engineer, so we did a verification. Or maybe we had to rework something because the supplier was bad. Or again, taking it into a business process. What is it about your systems, the services that you provide, that are really adding value for your customer? And what are the things that you still have in your system or your services that you think are just there because they've always been there, they're a legacy, but maybe they add no value. Maybe they're just taking up space, and maybe they're having people work on them, but they're really not adding any more creativity to your innovation. So I would encourage this team to think about, as you're introducing new products, new services, think about what really adds value in your service today, and be tough about what you want to keep, and think about that, and really question even the people who have been there for 30 years or for 3 months as to what really adds value in your business, and bring some fresh eyes in there to kind of make sure that they're asking those questions as well. And I'd also say that you think about whether you have contracts or service contracts, or how do you go to market, or how do you price, and how do you make your product sticky. Think about how that adds value. And I'd be thinking about that as well. While it's not making a widget, there's opportunities to improve value and to improve the quality of what you do for your customers as well. So those are some examples I think that certainly apply to Evergreen and the business platforms, the groves that are being built here.
We have time for probably one more question. Yep.
Chris, thank you for being here. Can you talk about the revenue growth since you joined the company, and kind of, was it upsell, was it new logo, was it, what was it that drove that?
Sure. So the first 2 years, it was all us and organic, and going through the transitionary times of 2020 and 2021. And with that, we grew a little bit, but the big focus there was that transition we talked about earlier of making ourselves a 70-30 aftermarket capital equipment company to really more of a 90-10 or better mix. That was a big focus for us. And with that, the marginality of our business changed dramatically. From a gross margin standpoint, we more than doubled our EBITDA margins in that 12-month period from 2020 to 2021, even though our sales were relatively up maybe 3, 4, 5% during that same time frame. And we actually thought in 2021 we were going to take our company to market. We thought, hey, we got to a position now where it's definitely very scalable. It's on one system. It's one company. We're functioning as one company. We've thinned out some of the things that we had inherently built up with the platform. And then in late 2021, we were given the great opportunity, as luck would have it, that one of our top competitors went on the market. So then when that top competitor market, we were ready for it because we were now one company, we were scalable, and we were cash rich, good business, and our investors were starting to love us again. So we went to the market, bought our competitor. That then immediately basically doubled the size of our business. And from that baseline of the two companies coming together, where their sales and margins were and EBITDA were in 2021, we then took that business, grew that organic line on the top line by 20%. Then the EBITDA line is what Jeff talked about earlier, where we were lapping ourselves on those opportunities. And we did that because we worked very hard in the first year on the integration of that new business. And as you go through your integrations, because I know you'll have several, you've done tens of hundreds of integrations. Another word of advice to all the CEOs and CXOs out there, move faster. Going slow doesn't make it better. In fact, it makes it worse for everyone involved. Not just for you, who will painfully have to go through this not for 12 months, but for 24 months. Do it as fast as you can. I pushed my team, and we pushed together, to be very clear, that we would get all the heavy lifting done on this integration of our company we bought. We'd get it done in 10 months, and we did. We, very different business again. We closed 4 plants, transferred thousands of product lines, We took 5 ERP systems that they had, made it into one ERP system, consolidated our HR policies, reorganized our sales team, reorganized our comp systems, reorganized our benefit plans, redid our websites, redid our social media platform, redid everything that we could to make it one company. And we were dog tired come December of 2022. But it was done. And it was fantastic. And now here we are in the second quarter of 2023. And what are we doing again? We're going right back at it. We're hiring another company, probably close in the next 30 days. And we got 3 more lined up. So I would just advise you guys to move fast. It makes it better for you. It makes value creation better for you. And it keeps your team, believe it or not, it keeps them engaged at a very, very high level, which you want.